are here. I'm going to open them up and see what's in there. It says, don't open with a knife. So we're going to try to open it by hand. This is the heavier one, so I think this is the Genoa. Bag. And that is the Genoa. That's pretty. Nice, crisp new sails. I'm not going to take it all the way out, but brand spanking new. That's interesting. What's that? And then this one must be the staysail. Nice, pretty new sail. And the staysail's a lot smaller. And there it is. New sails. Can't beat it. All right, both of the front four sails are up. We got the Genoa is out right now. The staysail is on the furler. It's furled up. You can barely see maybe there. So it's on there, but it's not out because I need to figure out exactly how it connects. And I don't think I have quite all the parts that I need to connect it. It has a self-tending boom that attaches to the bottom, and so there's only one line that comes back instead of two lines like the Genoa does. So I have to figure out how that all connects together, and once I get that done, then we'll be able to put both sails up. I was able to get it on there, but just not. I just have it kind of tied in there with a sheet that I just stuck on the end. But the other one went up perfectly, and we're out here sailing. A couple knots. Winds are about 5 knots. We're doing about 2.5 knots of speed. So pretty good so far. Bunch of boats out today, you can see. Bunch of sailboats out there. A couple big ships out there in the distance. And we're just lazily cruising along, following this other sailboat over here out in front of us. Just chilling. All right, we're back in at the marina. We came in pretty easily. No big problems getting in. There was no wind. We tried a new way of backing in pulling up to the side and trying to tug our way in, which worked out well. But I got the sails up. You can see the staysail here. The only problem that I still have to figure out is how this sheet connects down there to that mess of lines there. There's a boom that goes with that right down on the boat, you can see. So I got to figure out how that goes in, because I'm not quite sure. It's got I found some extra lines I think that go with it, so I'm going to try that and see if I can get those to fit on there. But other than that, that's all we've been working on today. Got those up. We basically just went out into the Severn River there. then put the sails up and then sailed out for a bit, and then we lost the wind and started to sail back, but we were getting like no wind coming back, so we just turned the motor on and motored back in. But everything went well, no problems backing in the way we did it today. So I think it's just going to take some practice getting used to the bigger boat and then the tighter slip to get in. So, but everything went well. So back a couple of years ago, I bought a dinghy to go with our sailboat at the time, which was Ramble On, a Pearson 28.2. And it's the cheapest possible dinghy you can buy from West Marine. It's the West Marine, I think it was the RU 250 or something like that, roll-up dinghy that is inflatable, and you can roll the whole thing up and it fits in a bag, and it's easier to store than any of the other options. It was also, I think at the time, the cheapest one. And it came with a pair of oars, so you could row it, and we spent, I think, probably a season and a half or so rowing it, which, you know, was not that bad. It was okay until you get into bigger, more crowded areas. Then it's kind of tricky moving out of everyone's way when you're rowing. And also, in terms of anchoring somewhere, it's harder to anchor further away from a place that you want to go, because then you've got to row the whole way. So what we decided to do is get a motor for the thing. So I wanted to get the cheapest, you know, possible outboard that I can get, and it didn't need to be like a big horsepower thing, because it's not like a planing type dinghy that needs a lot of speed or power. So I got I was looking in the 2.5 horsepower range. So I narrowed it down to a couple. Originally I wanted to do a Honda, because I had a Honda before, and Honda makes the 2.3 horsepower. That's an air-cooled outboard motor, which I thought, okay, you know, simpler, fewer moving parts. I might go with that, but it doesn't get like perfect reviews. It doesn't get good reviews online because it's air-cooled, it's louder, and in terms of reliability, you don't get what you expect, I guess, out of a Honda for that lower 2.5 horse outboard. So I looked at Yamaha was the next one. They had a 2.5 horse that gets good reviews. And then also Suzuki, which has the same thing. They have a 2.5 horse that also gets good reviews. Both of those are water cooled, so they're a little quieter. And again, you know, more moving parts, but in terms of reliability, they get better reviews than the Honda does. And I finally settled on a Suzuki, because the Suzuki at the time, or when I bought it just recently, they increased the warranty. The Yamaha warranty, I think, was like a year warranty on their 2.5 horse outboards, and Suzuki currently is somewhere around between 3 and 5 years. I forget which, depends on who you ask, but somewhere. So I figured a better option in terms of the warranty, and I went ahead. I went to a couple places locally to buy one. Last time I bought an outboard was for our first sailboat, Polyworld. It was a 22-foot Catalina that actually used the outboard as its auxiliary propulsion. So I bought a Honda at the time, and it was one of the larger Hondas. I forget what size it was. Maybe bigger than 5 horse, or somewhere around 5 horse, somewhere in that range, I think. And that worked great. I mean, we didn't actually have it that long, because we ended up selling the boat not too long after getting that outboard. It worked great when we had it, no problems with it. So that was what led me to try initially to Honda to begin with. But then, like I said, after the reviews, I decided on the Suzuki. So I went to a couple places, and every place I went to in the area said, we can't get it. We can't get the small outboards. It's going to take at least 6 months, they said, to order it in, because there's a backlog of orders, and especially on the smaller portable outboards, and the 2.5 being the smallest portable that they make. So every place I went to recommended that I buy it online, and I was a little hesitant to buy it online just because I thought, when I bought the Honda the first time, they took it in, they got it for me, they ordered it in, they did the prep work, I guess, which basically amounts to adding oil to the thing, and then they brought it to my boat. So it worked out perfectly. So I kind of wanted to go to a local shop for this one, because I want them to be the first one to look at it. But they recommended doing it online, so I asked them, well, how reliable is that? And everybody seemed to say that no problem. So I went ahead and went to a place called onlineoutboards.com, and it's right there. You can see in the background it arrived. So there it is, and it arrived in perfect shape. It's all boxed up, and we'll get ready to take a look at it here in a second. So here is the unboxing of the new outboard motor that's going to go on our dinghy. So this one here came in a box that is outboard shaped, which I thought was interesting. I've already opened up the tape to kind of look in there and see what it looked like, which one is the top part and all that stuff. But it came from Outboard or onlineoutboards.com, and you can see here when you open it up, this is what you get in this uniquely shaped box. And like that down here on the bottom. And there it is. And inside I've got a toolkit, it looks like, that comes with it. So inside the toolkit, we have the bag, of course. There's a little Phillips screwdriver. A couple of, this looks like a double end wrench. This is probably a spark plug wrench. You got some pliers, and then maybe some extra rope for the pull cable, because it's a pull start. We've got the manual that comes with it, as well as the warranty information. And it's packed in here with some foam. And there it is. It's a Suzuki 2.5 horse. It's all wrapped up in there. I opened this up a little bit previously, so some of it's unwrapped. Next thing I got to figure out is how I'm going to lock this onto the boat. So there are different ways you can do it. I have a cable that actually I have a cable in that I can probably put a lock. There's a little holes on this end right here. I could probably take a lock through that onto a cable and then run the cable into the boat somehow. But that's what it looks like right now. Next step is to take it out, get some oil in it, and start it up. All right, we're anchored here in Whitehall Bay. We spent the night, first time spending the night on this boat here in Whitehall Bay. And I've got the new dinghy motor right up there. And I'm going to try to hook it onto the dinghy, which is hanging back here in the davits. All that for the first time. I haven't had the dinghy out in the davits before, so put that on there last night. Tried to get some of the lines hooked up so it could sit in there properly. I still have some adjusting to do to that. But then sometime today, we're going to try to lower that down and then get the engine on the dinghy and take it for a spin around and make sure that the dinghy motor works fine and everything. So that's next on the agenda. Dinghy motor is fired up and it is running, warming up. So there's a break-in period of, I think it's 10 hours or something like that, where you have to run it like below half speed for the first couple hours, and then you can increase to 3/4 speed, and finally to full speed, no longer than 5 minutes in the last 2 hours of that break-in time. So right now it's doing its initial, supposed to be 5-minute run, and at idle speed. So that's what it's doing right now. Fired up right up, no problem. So we're getting ready to take a spin here in a minute and see how it moves the dinghy at half speed. So update on the dinghy. We put the engine on the dinghy, motored around for a little bit. It worked fine, no problems with it. It pushed the dinghy just like you would expect. The dinghy is not, it's a roll-up dinghy, so it's not planing or anything like that. So the 2.5 horsepower, plenty big enough for it. I was able to get it on and off the boat pretty easily. It has this this crane right here, that dinghy crane right there that lifts it up and puts it down. So it was easy to get on and off. And with the davits, the dinghy davits back here, that was easy to get the dinghy on and off. But I still have to work out the lifting points for that and getting some things on there that I can lift it up properly with. I had one of the davits hooked to one of the lines that came with the dinghy along the edge of the dinghy, and it broke as it didn't actually break. It just kind of came undone. So I have to go back and figure out a better way to do that. So right now We just lifted anchor at Whitehall Bay, and we left Whitehall Bay, threw the sails up, and we are sailing about south right now in the Chesapeake Bay, mouth of the Severn. We're going to cross. Once we get up to the mouth of the Severn, we're going to hang a right and head up the Severn to head back to the marina. Right now, winds pretty decent. Like right now, we got 7-knot winds, kind of to the back of us a little bit. Probably going to turn a little bit here so I can get us more of a beam reach. But here we are, out in the Chesapeake Bay, or the Whitehall Bay, Severn River, Chesapeake Bay area, sailing along.